consulting, FMCG, and international development. She has advised organizations and led transformational people initiatives in roles with Deloitte Consulting, Halliburton, Dresser Kellogg, P&G Gas Limited, Ebenco Global Link, and Unita. She is the creator of the Leadership Clarity to Confidence framework. Amazing. Through which she equips professionals, executives, and organizations to lead with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Her work spans coaching, consulting, training, and leadership development, helping individuals and teams build emotionally intelligent and high-performing workplace cultures. She's an emotional intelligence coaching practitioner, EICP. Chidinma holds the Emotional Intelligence Coaching Certification, Life Coach Credential, awarded by Post Factory in partnership with 6 Seconds, the Global Network for Emotional Intelligence. She serves as a faculty member of the Young Professionals Bootcamp at the Covenant Nation, program's deputy lead of Emotional EQ Empowered Woman Community, and director of programs and events for the Lagos State chapter of the Learning and Development Network International. My goodness. She holds a BSc and MSc. Oh, this is amazing. I mean, if I keep reading this profile, we're not going to go ahead this evening. So long and short, Chidinma is a powerful coach, strategic human resource consultant, and a leadership development expert. And on that note, please, can we use the reaction tools and put our hands together, give some love, share some claps, some love for our speaker tonight, Coach Chidinma. Coach Chidinma, it's great to have you. Great to have you, and we're looking forward to an amazing time with you this evening. Please, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Sorry, I just want to quickly put my slides on. All right, please, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can. If you can put it on presentation mode, that would be beautiful.
That's what I want to do. Just one.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So good evening, everyone, and you're welcome to today's session. Thank you very much, Coach Oge, for that introduction. I was actually looking around to find out if it was me you were introducing. Okay. Please, I need everybody to go to the chat box. Today is going to be very interactive. I'm going to be looking at that chat room because I need your responses quickly. I'd like to start my session by just painting a picture. Imagine that you're working in a company. You're working in a company and your boss enters the office in the morning and with a straight face, doesn't answer anybody's greetings, and goes straight to his office and sends for you. And okay, I'll use my name. So he sends for Amaka, and then Amaka walks into the office and he looks you straight in the face and he says, I've been having so many complaints about you and your team. Please go to the chat box and tell me what you feel. What is don't think about it. Don't think too much about it. Write one word expressing what you feel by that scenario that I've just painted with you and your boss, please. Disappointed, okay? My eyes are on the chat, shocked, yeah? My eyes are there. Surprised, good. All right, can we have more, please? Let's have more, please. Sad. Good. Confused. Correct. Awkward. I agree with you. So all of these emotions, dumbfounded, yes, they're all very valid. They're very valid, especially when there was nothing leading to that kind of reaction or experience from your boss. So let's get right into it. Today, we'll be talking about developing emotional intelligence for leadership. And like I've already been introduced, sorry, my slides are acting up a bit, sorry. Okay, good. Like I've already been introduced, I'm a HR consultant, I'm a learning and development practitioner, all right, with LD&I and all of that. I believe Coach Oge has said it all, literally, all right? Thank you so much. So let's go right into it because I think we're some minutes late into this session. Okay, so emotional intelligence is not a theory, okay? And it's not a personality trait. That's something that people get wrong right from the beginning. And that's something I need to clear right from the onset before I proceed with my session, okay? It is a skill. And if it's a skill, what do you do with a skill? You learn a skill, you practice a skill. And if you have a particular skill set, you strengthen it, all right? Every day, today is designed to be felt before, everything is today is designed to be felt before it is understood. That's why when I painted that scenario, the first reaction was, oh, shock, surprise, disappointed, sad, and all of that. It's what you feel that comes to your mind first before you think it through, or you try to give an excuse for the boss that acted that way or anything like that. But that's the first thing that comes to mind. Now, I'd like us to quickly paint a scenario in our head. A lot of us have been in the corporate world for some time. Some of us are business owners, so we have people that we work with and all of that. So there must have been experiences with good or best leaders and also worst leaders, all right? What I want us to do quickly in the chat box, think of a leader that was your best leader and how did that leader make you feel? How did that leader make you feel? Please, I'm still looking at the chat box. Today, our interactive session is on the chat box. We're unable to use polls and have people, unmute their mic to speak. So let's use the chat box more frequently. So fastest fingers, let's see those that are following me in this session. So the best leaders that you have had encounters with, how did they make you feel? How did they make you feel? And the worst leaders that you have come across in the course of your work, how did they make you feel? When they enter the room, what happens? All right? Okay, so while I'm waiting for us to respond, I'll proceed with my presentation. Yes, best leaders make you feel confident. They make you feel confident. They make you feel capable. They make you feel seen. They make you willing to give your best, to go overboard, to give more than yourself to that task. You understand? Even when it is very hard. I've worked with great leaders that make me work till 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning. I've actually worked with a great leader that made me come to work in the morning, and I worked till the next day, went home in the morning, had my bath, dressed up, and came back to work. And it wasn't a problem for me. I did that cheerfully and willingly because that was a great leader that I was working with, all right? But now let's also write, I see confident, I see for the best boss, they make you feel good, want to do more and do what will not let them down. Yes, I agree with you. Worst leaders, oh my God, they make you feel incompetent. Yes, they demean you, they underrate you, all right? And give you low self-esteem. That's correct. You can go any length with a great leader. You're very correct. You want to work more. You want to give more. You want to give your best self when you're working with a best leader. And if you have a best leader, whenever a best leader walks into the room, they walk in and their mood becomes the team's weather forecast, all right, for a best leader. But for a terrible and the worst leader, when they come, they're the ones that determine whether the team is happy or the team is sad or the team is moody or people are hiding in the and hiding in their corners and they don't want to be seen. All right, and all of that. That's what worst leaders do to us. Okay. Oh, yes, I agree with you, Okon. The best leader makes you feel good and competent, while bad leaders make you feel unhappy and fearful. That's true. Some leaders make you dread going to work. I've worked with a leader that every Sunday, I fall ill every Sunday. Or if I don't fall ill every Sunday, on my way to work, I fall ill, or I can get to the office and I'll be rushed to the hospital, working with a very terrible, toxic leader. It was crazy. All right. Okay, so let's move on. All right. What? It was almost always emotional intelligence that distinguished my bad leaders and the good leaders that I have come in contact with. And when I say bad leaders and good leaders, it's not just at the workplace. You can have leaders in church, you can have leaders at home, you can even have leaders that are family members. I remember growing up and we were living in an estate, and I knew a lot of our neighbors' children. Whenever they hear the sound of their parents' car from the street, they know the sound of the car, they know the horn, they know everything. The children will run what they call 440, and they go to hide in their wardrobes or in their rooms or something, not even in the sitting room, because their father or their mother is going to give them thorough beating and all of that. Meanwhile, on our own part in our family, if my dad or my mom is coming back, we're all running out and, hey, daddy is back or mommy is back, we're grabbing the bags and everything and checking what did they get for us and everything. And sometimes, to be honest, they could come back and mommy or daddy would say, have you done your homework? Why are you outside playing or something like that? But, we're not afraid to play and be found playing outside because of the psychological safety we had around our parents. We could discuss that. And if on a particular day we played and they frowned at it, you'll find out that immediately my seniors and every other person will quickly say, we're sorry and won't do it again. And honestly, we won't do it again and life will continue. But we didn't notice that with our neighbors and all of that. It was really a technical skill. It was really an intelligence skill. It was always an emotional intelligence skill that differentiated the parents from the way they acted or the leaders from the way they acted. So how they manage themselves, I think how a leader manages him or herself determines how far he's able to manage others, understand others, be aware of his own emotion or her own emotion and the emotion of the people that surround him, and how he responds under pressure and makes other people feel. One thing I can say for free is that a lot of people thrive when they're in a calm situation. When they're in a calm situation, they thrive so much. It's so easy to say this is a great leader when everything is moving smoothly. All right. Daniel Goleman says, what separates managers who get compliance from leaders who earn commitment is not IQ, it is EI, which is emotional intelligence. Somebody could be very technical, very smart, very brilliant and all of that, but might just lack emotional intelligence, and that is what is pulling the person down in everything that the person is doing. Okay. All right. I'll quickly tell us a story because I want all that I'll be talking about today to be very relatable. All right. I won't tell you about something that happened that I'm not very proud of. Okay. And it taught me a lot of emotional intelligence. Sorry, my slide has gone a bit too fast. Sorry. Okay, so I had just come out of a surgery on my vocal cords. I'm actually a music minister in the choir for many years. I write songs and all of that. That's some of the things I did not add in my intro, my bio. Okay, so the doctor's order was that I should talk less and CIPM conference was coming. I was working in a company where I was covering the entire spectrum of HR, all right, single-handedly and all of that. And I've been trying to get the company to sponsor me for pre-conference training, the conference itself, hotel accommodation, flight ticket, everything that is associated to it for several years, and it wasn't working. I think on a particular year, they paid for the conference, but they didn't pay for all the others, and I had to foot all the other bills. So this particular, my mouse is acting crazy, sorry. So this particular year, the company approved everything several months before the conference. I think the conference was supposed to be either September or October. Around like August, they had paid for the flight ticket round trip. They had booked the hotel. Everything was sorted. It was just for me to request for my out of station allowance and I take off. That was the only thing that I had not requested for, And then suddenly, I had to go for this surgery because I couldn't even speak. I mean, no matter how much I shouted, you won't hear what I'm saying because I had issues with my vocal cord and I had that little procedure to be done. And before I went in for that procedure, I had told the surgeon that I have a conference that I'm going to be attending. And he asked me, are you going to be a speaker at the program? I said, no. Are you a panelist? I said, no. I'm just going there to attend. And I gave him the history of how I finally got this approved for me to be at the conference this year, all fully funded by the company. He said, of course you can go as long as you're not going to be presenting, you're not going to be talking, because I need you to rest your voice and all of that. And I was really excited that, even doctors will allow me to attend this conference. Unfortunately for me, I came out of the hospital on either Thursday or Friday, and the conference was to start on Monday. And then I think Saturday evening, because I live on the island, I had to move to the mainland to my uncle's house so that it would be easier to get to the airport and take off. Then there was a lot of this construction at the Lekki access. So on our way to the mainland, my boss calls. This is a boss that is normally not very nice, but he calls and he's very interested and he's asking, how are you? Have you left the hospital? How is your voice now? How is everything going? Blah, blah, blah. How is your daughter? Blah. He was asking questions that were, they're nice questions, but they were making me uncomfortable. So eventually he landed with the real thing he wanted to say. And I said, Chidi, you need to get a certificate of fitness for you to go for your CIPM conference. And I was shocked. The first hit me was shock. It was shock. I was like, what? I said, okay, no problem, sir. I will contact the HMO and also the hospital and we'll get the certificate across to you. That's not a problem. He said, okay. He now asked me, how is my daughter? I said, fine, and all of that. I didn't tell him that I had used my own money and bought ticket for my nanny and bought for my daughter so that they can all join me for this conference. And somebody is coming to stop me halfway. So it wasn't funny at all. Then my boss asked for the doctor's report before I could travel. And I was really furious. That was not funny at all. All I could hear was, oh, another obstacle. After several years of waiting to get this thing approved, now it's approved. And what is this? Just a few hours to the conference. What is this all about? And another side of the story that nobody knew was that my mom had been out of the country, for some months and was returning that weekend with my elder brother, whom I hadn't seen for several months. So it was more like a family reunion for me. They had not met my daughter. It had only been seeing her on WhatsApp and everything. In short, I couldn't even think of anybody telling me that I won't go for that conference. I was ready to tell the company, take all your money. I will pay for the conference and I'll attend. I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I did all I had to do, contacted the HMO, the medical director of the hospital, up and down, back and forth. Imagine me on the call, somebody that is supposed to be resting voice. I was on call from Saturday night till Sunday, till Monday when we took off to Abuja until I got this clearance certificate and I sent it in. But just before I sent it in, one of my colleagues, a senior colleague of mine, told me that you won't get this clearance from the hospital or from the HMO, Chidima. Oh my God, I forgot that I was supposed to be resting my voice. I forgot that I did surgery. And I just went and just lashed out at him and said, "You are an enemy of progress. Whether you like it or not, God is going to use basket and fetch water and shame the devil." It wasn't my colleague that was telling me to bring certificates, but I poured all my frustration and all my anger on him. I poured it all on him. And that is one time that I learned emotional intelligence, because the truth of the matter is that I got really, yes, I got the clearance and I went for the conference, but I didn't feel really good. All right. That encounter taught me more than what the entire conference taught me. I had to walk back to the colleague and I apologized, because it wasn't his fault that he made that statement. I mean, and I don't think he said it from a bad place. Maybe he did, but I now with emotional intelligence, I will tell you that I wouldn't want to believe the worst of someone till I confirm that the person is actually bad. So that walk back to his office taught me more about leadership than anything I learned at the conference itself. Because a leader who cannot regulate themselves in pain will always hurt the people nearest to them. That my colleague was almost in tears because he felt he was looking out for me and trying to, save me from unnecessary stress and all of that. And I saw him as an enemy of progress. Not because he was bad, but because nobody taught me about emotional intelligence and the fact that sometimes you need to just pause. You see, that's why I love the name of our lead coaches company, Pause Factory. Sometimes you need to pause. Just take a pause. Just count 1 to 5 or count 1 to 10. And you find out that the reaction that you would have made without a pause is different from the reaction you make when you take a pause. All right? So that moment really taught me serious about emotional intelligence, seriously. All right. And one thing I can say for free is that emotional intelligence is something that you practice. It's something that you practice consistently on a daily basis. You just practice it. You do a lot of reflection. I don't know, some people do journaling, they do reflection, they check their previous day. How did it go? Somebody said the person's day was hectic. It would be nice if you could take a pause and look through your hectic day and find out if there was any reaction that you put out that wasn't supposed to be. If there was any word that you said out that you shouldn't have said or something like that. Those are things that come out from, reflection. Okay, so for me, I structured 4 domains for us to look at throughout my presentation. All right, and I want us to look at it in sequence, so one flows into the other. All right, just like if you're looking at a problem tree, there will be root cause analysis that will be done before you see all the issues that show up because of the root cause. All right. So one sequence, each one unlocks the next one. So from being self-aware of yourself, of your own emotion, which is that data, all right, when you have that data about how you feel and all of that, and also understanding their how other people feel, that's their own knowing how their own emotions work and how they're wired and all of those things. It helps you to understand and relate better with people, regulate your own emotions, understand your environment, and also build better and greater relationships, and you can manage them very well. So let's dig deep into it. We'll start with the foundation, which is self-awareness, all right? A leader who doesn't know their own triggers, you must know what triggers you. You don't know your blind spot, and you don't, and your default reaction under pressure will always be at the mercy of those things. Not because they are weak, but because what we cannot see in ourselves, we cannot manage. I'll quickly tell you a short story. Growing up, my middle elder brother used to always tease me. And he'll go like, we'll all be watching TV, or we're all in sitting room or outside eating or something like that. And he'll just walk in and say, mommy, I'm going to say something to Chidima that is going to trigger her. I mean, how can somebody come in and tell you, I'm going to say something that will trigger you? That should already make you to guard yourself and control yourself. You know that I will not control myself. He will say it and I will get angry, and I'll be angry with him. I will stone him, or I'll start scolding him that, why are you like this? What's wrong with you? My mommy will be like, but Chidima, he just told you he was going to tell you something that will trigger you. That should have made you not to react. He said he's going to make you react, and now you're reacting, So it took me several years to learn how to control myself, control my emotions. It took me a long time to be able to learn that. And today, when my elder brother, my particular elder brother, tries anything, he's always shocked that I don't react. If he wants to trigger me to laugh and I don't want to laugh, I can control myself and I will not laugh. If he wants to trigger me to be angry, I can control myself and I will not be angry. And he's been wondering why. I think maybe now when he sees all the certifications on emotional intelligence, you say, maybe that's where this is coming from and all of that, because the sister that I know is not this person and all of that. But it takes time. And like I said, it's continuous practice. It's something that you have to do consistently for you to continue to improve. All right. We can only manage what we know. My late pastor always says, you can't give what you don't have. So if you have not developed yourself up to that point, you can't control your emotion. You can't be calm in stormy situations. You can't. Tension before a meeting. Some people, what they do, they take deep breaths. All right. I had to learn how to do all of those things. I didn't know how to do things like that. They take deep breaths. You take deep breaths from your tummy and not from your mouth. Growing up, we just do. But I learned how to take deep breaths from my tummy. And I found it so relaxing that I could enter a boardroom and people are throwing words across each other, and I'm so calm in the meeting. And then maybe my MD will just turn, Chidima, why are you laughing? Why are you not moved and all of that? He doesn't know that I have done a lot of work to get myself to that point. It's not something I learned from birth. It's not something that came with me. It's something that I took time to practice, and I'm still practicing and I'm still learning, okay? The urge to cut people off. There's some people that are very good at that. I had a staff back then at Ebenco. She was so good at that. Oh my God, she could win a medal. She could win an international global award for that. She interrupts everybody, the MD, the CFO, her juniors, her peers, anybody, she interrupts everybody. At first, when I walked into the company and I noticed she was doing that, I used to actually stop the meeting and I'll ask her not to interrupt anybody again. She'll allow people to express themselves, write down her question, and then she can interject when she's given the floor. But after some time, I stepped back because, I mean, you can't be talking about emotional intelligence and you don't also apply it around you. I stepped back and started to observe our meetings, and I realized that she didn't know what she was doing. She wasn't aware that she was cutting people short when they speak. She wasn't aware at all. And she wasn't doing it deliberately. All right. So I took time and called her to my office, and we had an engagement and all of that. And she was in tears that she didn't know that's how she was appearing. That's the perception people saw her of her and all of that and everything. And I told her, no, everybody starts from somewhere. I mean, people have their bad stories and situations that they have gone through and all of that, but they've grown out of it. So you can also grow out of all of that. And before I left Ebenco, all of that changed. She waits, and when she's given the opportunity, she will go, number one, this, number two, this, and she's so intelligent. So you see, by the time we talked this through and she began to practice it, her intelligence began to, come to the fore in the team, and people began to recognize that she makes actually valid points. She's not just cutting people down because she wants to cut them down, is to bring about continuous improvement in what we're doing. So going quiet when challenged, that's another reaction that people have. I mean, there's a way you'll be with people, and the way they cut you down will just make you keep quiet. Even when you see that this contribution can make us move the next rung of the ladder, you will not want to say it because you're always cut short. So you don't want to open your mouth and be shut down again. So you just keep quiet, and things can get bad under your watch, and that's not good at all. These are not weaknesses, they are all data. And what you do with the data that you have determines how far you can go and all of that. So emotionally intelligent leaders learn to read this data before reacting to them, okay? All right, so self-awareness tells you what you are feeling, and self-regulation tells you what you do with it. So if you're feeling sad, what do you do with that sadness? If you're feeling shocked, like the example we talked about in the beginning, what are you doing with that? If you feel surprised, what will you do with that? One of the things that nobody said is that in that kind of situation, there are some people that will actually speak back to that boss and tell him, no, my team is not is doing right. We did this, we did that, we did, that there's some people that can also react like that. So there are different types of reactions that could actually come up. It is the space, emotional intelligence is the space between stimulus and response. And in that space lives your leadership. How we know your true leadership trait is when you're able to lead between that chaos and the response that you give. All right. I don't want to preempt myself to a slide that says that people listen to respond and not listen to understand. Okay. Their anxiety becomes the team's anxiety. Okay, for those that don't regulate themselves properly. So whenever they're anxious, everybody has to be anxious and all of that. When they're frustrated, it becomes the team's silence. Everybody has to be hiding in corners and walking as if they're eggshells all over the place. All over the place. All right. This reactivity becomes the team's caution. So leaders with poor self-regulation don't just struggle personally, they leak. They're leaking from all corners. They're leaking from all corners. They could be leaking at home with their wives, their children, in church. They could be leaking in different places, all right? So this brings me to this quote that I just explained. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose. It's our power to choose our response. Notice it doesn't say our power to choose our reaction. Many times we react when we don't apply emotional intelligence. All right, so empathy in its leadership form is what we'll be talking about here, where you have the ability to pick up on what is actually happening. So social awareness, you can walk into a room and you sense the silence tells you something. It's data. The face looking or the eye, people are looking at themselves, something like that. It's data. It's telling you something. It's telling you something. You understand? So the energy in the room is also telling you something. Unspoken word is something. It's something. It tells you something. All right? Silence tells you something which you need to figure out what exactly it is. So social awareness will ask questions like, what is the person not saying? What is the body language saying? Sorry, excuse me, that the person has not said in words? What is the room feeling that nobody else is naming? All right? Okay, so in our Nigerian context, You know that hierarchy often surpasses direct feedback. People agree in the room and resist outside it. I experienced that a lot as a HR director. So we could have a town hall meeting, or we have a management meeting, and something is discussed, and all my colleagues will keep quiet and agree with the MD. Immediately the MD steps out of the meeting, everybody bombards me. Oh, Chidi, no, this. And I'm like, some of you are even senior to me and you're closer to the MD. Why didn't you raise it that you're not in agreement with this decision that the MD wants us to take? He said, no, it's HR. It's HR that's supposed, it's not HR that's supposed to raise it. It's not HR that's supposed to raise it. And I told them, see, even if you think that HR is supposed to raise it, if I raise it and one of you supports and we now put it out for discussion, we can discuss it and we can move forward. But if only HR is the one that itemizes things that are not going right or doesn't agree with what MD is saying, there's a problem. Because MD wants HR to be on his side all the time. And I'm not that kind of HR. So when I agree with MD, I agree. When I don't agree with the MD, I also have engagement with him before the meeting to tell him that, MD, this is the way I see this thing. And in terms of best practice, this is where it is and all of that. And they don't know that. And I told them, you don't know what I have already discussed with the MD. So for him to still come and say this, and all of you have agreed, he will just go back to his office and be thinking, that was Chidima's thought and not what she gathered from the staff. So they're not helping issues when they all keep quiet, when we're discussing something that cuts across all of us and all of that. So an emotionally intelligent leader doesn't wait for people to speak. They create the conditions where speaking up feels safe. Psychological safety is very important. All right. Somebody has their hand up, Ada Emmanuel. Please, can you put your question in the chat box and I will answer you soon. I'm almost rounding up, okay? So most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Many times you speak to them, they didn't even hear the instruction that you gave. Even with my daughter, it's a 5-year-old, when I send her to my room, I'm always very specific. I'll tell her, Mama, get to my room, bring my orange bag, the kente bag. You know, I will give her specific instruction. Or if I don't want her to bring the bag, I'll say, open the bag in the side pocket, bring so. You need to be specific so that specificity will make her to figure out exactly what you want her to do and to do it. So if you can do that with a 5-year-old, you can do it with others. And this is one book I really like us to read, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Okay, quickly, let's talk about the fact that this is where the first 3 domains, all right, become visible in your leadership. When you're talking about relationship management, that's where you put all of them together: self-awareness, self-regulation, and all of that. You put all of them together to now build lasting and sustainable relationship. How you influence people. Leadership is influence, and that's what John Maxwell says. Leadership inspires. It helps you to navigate conflict, develop others, and build the kind of trust that survives difficult situations. You can only do that when you are able to self-regulate, you're self-aware, and you also are aware of circumstances around you. Oh, sorry, what's going on? All right. You cannot manage relationships well if you don't know yourself. So you need to know yourself, know your own, have the data about your own emotions for you to even try to manage relationships that are around you. Okay. You cannot lead people well if you can't regulate your own responses. Your own responses. You cannot inspire anyone if you're not paying attention to what they are actually in need of. You need to. pay attention to what they are actually in need of. Leaders high in relationship management are not the most likable leaders. I can tell you that for free. They are the most consistent. They're very honest and willing to have the hard conversations with care. I'll give you another quick example. All right. So we used to do 2 boss meeting at work, and during 2 boss meeting, top leaders, senior leaders share one thing or the other. There was a particular time I was noticing that people were doing a lot of eye service at work. So on that particular morning, I spoke, and in presenting it, I think I forgot my emotional intelligence cap at all. Forgive me. And I just, instead of saying that some people are displaying traits of are displaying traits of what they call it. What was the word that I just used now? Eye service. I said, all of you. Nobody corrected me. But like I said, because I do reflect on what has happened in a particular day, when I go back to my office, I reflected. I was like, no, there's some people in that crowd that are not doing eye service, and they're giving their all, they're giving their best. There's some people that, I mean, because of me, they go the long haul to walk around the clock, get things done and all of that. I said, no, I haven't done right. Tomorrow morning, I'll correct this. Nobody told me. But I also believe that as a Christian, the Holy Spirit, sorry for those that are not Christians, the Holy Spirit also checked me. So the next day when it was time for 2 boss meeting, I said I had something to say. And I came out publicly in presence of all the staff, who have over 300 and something. And I said I was sorry that yesterday when I was speaking to us, I said that all of us are doing a high service. I'm really very sorry. There's some people that are doing that, and we are all aware that there's some of us that are doing that. It's not good and it's not healthy. It's not going to help us get the kind of culture that we need and all of that. But I am absolutely and totally sorry to have said that and all of that. And I just heard people clapping. Everybody, they were just clapping. One person started clapping, and that's how everybody started clapping in the 2 boss meeting. And I was like, what are they clapping? Is there an award or something? And then the head HSC manager now took the mic and started speaking. He said that he has worked in so many companies, Shell, this, that, he started calling out the names, that he had never seen where a leader came to the public to say that they were sorry. I said, for me, any leader that cannot say sorry, I don't think you're a leader, because you should be able to say sorry. You should be able to notice when you've done something wrong and correct it and all of that. So that happened, all right? I hope I'm doing well with time, Coach Oge, because this is an interesting topic that might just get me talking and talking and talking. All right, so I want to quickly cite another example. There was an executive management retreat that we went for, and I was one of the facilitators. With some external facilitation, we had a game to play, and I genuinely and honestly just made a sentence. This is how we would discover or know the difference between Gen Z and millennial and baby boomers. I didn't think twice about it, and I meant nothing evil about that statement. The facilitators were laughing, some of my colleagues were laughing and all of that. And you know, to my greatest surprise, my greatest chagrin, the baby boomers, where my MD fell, were the ones, you know, serious and struggling to get the game right. And at the end of the day, they actually got the game right. The rest of us were falling out of the game and all of that. But my MD didn't take it in good spirit. He later called me to the side, and he was not happy that I made that sentence. And I apologized to him and even asked him to ask the facilitator that it wasn't a bad thing that I said, and that moreover, what I said even proved itself, because the baby boomers were not the people that won the game and all of that. But he took offense. All the apology went down the drain. It did not work. But what could I have done? So what you intended is different from what the other person perceives. I had no bad intention when I said that, but it doesn't matter to the person. You don't know where the person is coming from. You don't know how that thing has rubbed up on the person wrongly and all of that. So my boss must have been carrying something about his relevance and his age or something like that I'm not aware of, about being seen as maybe outdated or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. But a leader with social awareness would have felt it and chosen their words more carefully. Looking at the words and the sentence I made, it doesn't look or sound like something that is bad, but you don't know where he's coming from. So innocence is not the same as wisdom. Sometimes we need to watch our words and mind what we say in the room. The real gap shows up under pressure. In all honesty, every leader, most leaders, score well on self-awareness in calm moments, when everything is smooth and rosy. There are deadlines, when there are public criticism, when there's a feeling of being undermined, this exposes what is actually developed versus what is performed. So what is underneath begins to show off when there's turmoil, when there's tragedy, when there's chaos. Anyone can hold the helm when the sea is calm. So the practice is building capacity for high stakes moments. So when the pressure comes, the pulse is still available to you. It's something you need to keep practicing so that when it's tried, when it's triggered, you will be able to face it squarely and respond accurately. Okay? The second gap on emotional intelligence for leaders is empathy without action. A lot of leaders that they sense how someone is feeling, but they do absolutely nothing about it. They sense it, but they do absolutely nothing about it. So they are observant enough to know that something is not sitting right, but they do nothing about it. Sensing how someone feels and adjusting your response is emotional intelligence. All right, and that we need to always do. Okay. All right. So emotional intelligence is not developed in a training room. It's not, and it's not a lecture. It is developed in the moments right after a trigger. So I'll just quickly guide us on certain things that we could do. There are much more, and some of the sessions we've had with other coaches, they've elaborated on that. So I didn't want to really go deep into it, but these are 4 key ones that you can actually do by yourself. The first one is daily reflection. So you can either choose to do this first thing in the morning before you set out for your day, or last thing at night before you go to bed. It helps you to reflect all that has transpired for the whole day for like 15 minutes. If you're not used to it, you can actually start 5 minutes a day. You do a reflection of your entire day, what you said, how you acted, and all of that. What triggered you? How did you respond? What would I do differently, or what would I have done differently in that particular situation? This builds automatic self-observation. So you begin to become aware of yourself and the things that trigger you and the way you can control all of that, okay? The second thing is specific feedback. When do I shut people down without realizing it? Like I said, that colleague of mine never knew that this is something she does. And there are some people that do this with ease. They cut in all the time when you're speaking. They don't see it as anything. They're used to it. Nobody has ever corrected them. And even if somebody has corrected them, maybe corrected them in a wrong way by saying, I'm not your mate. Don't cut in when I'm talking again. I don't or something like that. And you know that the way you correct someone determines if the person will actually take that correction from you. There's a way you will tell somebody to stop doing something, and the person will gladly walk into that ocean and drink the water, and not drown, because the person, you communicated it in the right way, right tone, right everything, and all of that. All right. Specific questions, honest answers. General ones, answers. So when you're not specific about your feedback and you just make general comments here and there, people will just be nice and they will respond politely to you, but it doesn't mean that they agree with you. Okay. Regulation toolkit, naming what you feel. We started with that. Reduces reduces, oh my God. Sorry. Amygdala activation. This is a neuroscience, not mindfulness marketing. Name it and gain the distance. Once you name what you feel, you're able to treat it as data, and you're able to regulate your emotions around it. You're able to get yourself out of that situation, not act that way continuously, okay? And then finally, know your people. Motivation, fears, communication styles, what support looks like for them. It's important for you to know that each person has what they believe support means and what success means to them. You cannot lead a category. You only lead a person at a time, all right? So know what you're doing or what you're saying is doing to your colleagues or your husband or your wife or your children, whoever you're relating with. Everybody has a sphere of influence. And you start from that, your little sphere of influence. You don't need to lead everybody all at the same time. Start from where you are and you keep leading and moving forward. Okay. So emotional intelligent leaders build psychological safety. I've mentioned this before, and I want to say that this is the only way you can get the best out of your team. Best teams, thriving teams, effective teams, efficient teams, they are that because they have psychological safety around them. Problems surface before they become crisis. So there's always something beneath the surface. There's always something under the tree. When you're looking like a problem tree, there are many roots, you know. There's something that triggers something. There's always something that triggers something. There's a catalyst, all right? Ideas are shared before they are abandoned, and mistakes become learning instead of shame when they are, you know, discussed or, you know, reviewed and observed in the right manner and in the right way. So emotional intelligence also transforms conflict navigation, change management, and talent retention. Conflict is almost never about the issue on the surface. Many times there are things that are beneath. It is always and almost always about the emotion underneath it. So when there's a fallout between a brother and a sister in a family or a husband and a wife, there's something that led to it. There's something. It came from somewhere. So you need to always step back and navigate to the root to find out what triggered this. There must be a trigger, all right? Resistance to change is almost always emotional before it is rational, all right? Emotional intelligence is the bridge. I have been fortunate to participate in a lot of measures and acquisition, and I can tell you for free that when you have such a situation and the people from the parent company or the company that is buying you over, they are very bossy and they're rubbing it off on you and all of that. It's not easy, it's not really smooth and easy to flow with them. But when they are able to, you know, provide psychological safety and people can contribute and you share, okay, yeah, your company is a smaller one that we're buying over, but they want to learn, they want to find out what you do in your company that works very well and all of that, and what you've been doing that is not working. And then they share theirs and all of that. And you will come out with a new framework or a new strategy that has not existed before because it's a mix, a marrying of two different cultures and two different frameworks or strategies or workflows and all of that. You come up with something that is not found in any book or has not existed in any company before, just because there is psychological safety and everybody is given an opportunity to bring something to the table. Everybody is seen and heard. People are made to understand that they have something to bring to the table. There's value that can come from you and all of that. Then you find out that change management becomes an easy or a walkover for you, all right? Talent retention. I can tell you for free that talented people don't leave bad organizations. They leave bad leaders, bad bosses who make them feel invisible, undervalued, or unsafe. I had a CFO that joined our company and left in less than 6 months. And she was almost in tears when she was talking to me. And you won't believe the reason. This is somebody that has traveled many countries in the world and all of that. And then she joins the company, and the training she picked was an overseas training. And my MD told her that she cannot go for the training. And then my MD calls me to the back. How can me, have I gone for any international training? That she will now just join the company. She has not even settled down. Her foot is not even on the ground. She already wants to go for international training. Oh my God. The CFO resigned. She resigned because even while she was still trying to put her foot down, from her former organization, she got an appointment to go for a training abroad. So she already had traveled abroad, even on the new job that she got in less than 3 months. So what was that talking down and belittling that my MD had to do to her? It didn't make any kind of sense. Okay, and my MD was that kind of person that likes to save money, likes to conserve and conserve and conserve. I mean, we literally had to push him to attend OTC, attend all these programs, it took us a lot to force him to stop driving his old jalopy Jeep, and then I bought him a brand new Jeep. I mean, it became so embarrassing for the company that we all had to put our voices together to force him to allow me to buy him a brand new car. I mean, that you're that kind of person, conservative, does not mean that you should spread it down, force it down everybody's throat around you. That's pretty not showing emotional intelligence, all right? As long as somebody's budget covers the trip abroad, I mean, all means, if that person wants to go, you let the person go, all right? The best you can do as an ND is to say, okay, it will not be two abroad trips in a year. You can limit it and say, okay, it's only one or something like that. But to make the CFO feel that going abroad is not in your radar at all. No, that puts her down a lot, and it wasn't up to a couple of weeks she was out of the company. She was out of the company, and there were still a couple of other people that also left like that because they felt undervalued. They had put in so much, and then when it was time for benefits, it would not come to them and all of that, and they felt really unsafe because when you share your opinions, it backlashes on you and all of that. All right. So, like I said, emotional intelligence is a daily practice. You might start off imperfectly at first, but with consistency, you will improve and you will become a better and the best version of yourself. With the humility to keep learning from the moments when you got it wrong, you'll find out that you keep refining and you keep getting better and getting better and better. All right. I remember when I lost my dad and also lost my elder brother, it taught me that life does not wait for you to be ready. It happened suddenly. Nobody anticipated it and all of that. So grief stripped away everything that was not necessary in my life. And what remained was this: the only thing you can control is how you show up daily. Life still had to go on. When my dad passed and my elder brother passed, I just wanted the whole world to come to a standstill because my own world had come to a standstill. But that can happen. Life will still continue even though you've lost your loved one. So today, the things I do and the things my siblings and I and my mom and all of us we do, we're doing it to make them proud. I mean, if I achieve anything, I go like, Dad, I know you're proud of me that I did this and all of that. So it's no longer pain and grief and all of that. We've learned how to turn it the other way around. And we're working and striving and trying to get things done and go higher because of the loss that we experienced very early in our life and all of that. That is emotional intelligence, not a theory. And that I studied. It was a truth I lived. I had to live it. Real life, I had to live it. Okay? I want to tell us about a leader who showed up. Who showed up and showed me what emotional intelligence actually looks like. This was when I was working with Deloitte Consulting overseas. And we had, again, an executive management retreat. And in that retreat, there were high stakes, there were senior leaders from USAID, FHI, so many big companies in that meeting. And for me, it was a rare privilege that somebody that had just been employed in Deloitte Consulting overseas was invited to come into that meeting. So I was actually the youngest. And there was a game that we had to play, and the consequence in that game was that if you fail it, you will come to the center of the hall where everybody will be surrounding you and you sit on the floor. Imagine my boss, my direct boss, joins us in the game, and the very first person that failed was him. And he doesn't hide it like some other people would have done. He announces that, oh, I failed. And so I have to go to the center of the, I was like, what is wrong with BDQ? Because that's what I used to call him. So what is wrong with BDQ? And he walked straight to the center of the hall and sat on the floor with his in front of everyone. USAID, all of them, everybody was there. He sat on the floor. And then anybody else that fails, he was welcoming them to come and join him on the floor. There was no air around him. There was no, I'm high and mighty, and I may be the boss or something like that. There was nothing like that. There was nothing like that. There was nothing like that. At that moment, my boss failed. He was the first one to fail without hesitation, without a flicker of embarrassment. He walked to the center and sat on the floor in his suit, in front of his peers and in front of his subordinates, and he was smiling. Today, the payoff from that relationship is that I still recognize him as a boss. That man is still my boss. He's still my friend. He has never missed one of my birthdays since 2012 when I worked with him in Deloitte. He checks on me and my daughter. He will buy birthday gift for me and my daughter on our birthdays, ask of my mom, my siblings. When you stop protecting your ego, you have so much more energy to give. This is an incredible example of emotional intelligence. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Aristotle said this. You need to start from knowing yourself. Know yourself. Be aware of your environment. Regulate your emotions. And of course, the output is managing relationships. So my question to you, please go to the chat box. I have been watching the chat box. Questions have been coming and I'll respond to them quickly. I've heard some questions asked and I will respond to them. But one question I want to ask, what do you want to go deeper on? What do you do when you have already reacted badly and the damage is done? What would you do? Can someone go to the chat box and put a word or a sentence? What would you do differently If you've already dropped the ball, let's assume you've scolded your wife, or you've shouted on your children, or something, or shouted on a colleague, or written a highly worded email and lambasted the colleague or something like that, what would you do differently? I'm looking at okay, yeah, Coach Oge says apologize if required, yeah? Make restitution if required, yeah? Can we get comments from others? It's not only Coach Oge that is in this room tonight. Sorry. Okay. All right, so actually come to the end of my presentation, and I want to thank you all for listening and for participating. This is my mantra: great leadership begins with clarity. You can only be clear when you are aware of your own emotions, you know yourself, and you know what triggers you. You're also aware of your environment. You're able to regulate. You're able to take a pause. You're able to respond and not react. You're able to maintain relationship. There's something that my Pastor Buju said recently, and he said that there's no place in the world that you will go to and anybody will say, I have misgivings with Buju. I quarreled with him, or he said this to me, or he said that to me. He says he's always very sensitive enough to know when to withdraw so that it doesn't lead to that. Because you don't know tomorrow who is going to be of help or support to you. So I will end my presentation with that, and I'll say the work does not end here. It begins the next time someone activates you. That's when the work starts. When somebody triggers you, that's when the work starts. Again, my name is Chidima Nkwocha, and I'm a HR consultant and an executive coach, founder of CAS Consult Nigeria Limited. The 4 words that are very important to me are clarity, confidence, growth, and impact. Now, can we look at the chat and see the questions? Emmanuel had his hand up at the time. If he's still around and is ready to speak, I will give him the opportunity to do that. Hello, was I talking to myself? Are we still here? Hello.
Hello, we are still there.
Okay. So I'm looking through the chat to see if there's anything. Yes, Victor, I agree with you. A best leader energizes you and they fill you with possibility mindset. I agree with you totally. Coach Oge, are you around? Is there any question that I need to respond to? Please send the presentation to our WhatsApp group for everyone's access. Okay.
I think there was a question. I don't know if you responded to that. So somebody had asked a question to say, how do you manage a situation when you're feeling being undermined by a junior colleague in a public session?
Okay, so that was one of the examples I wanted to cite, okay? And I also would want us to respond to it right now. Let me just cite it. Okay, so you have a budget or you have a design, something to present to both external parties and your team. And while you're presenting that as the manager, Amaka just says, that's not in our budget. That's not the way we do things here and all of that. Please, can you go on the chat box and tell me, write one word of how that makes you feel, please. Quickly, please, can I have your responses? How does that make you feel? When I get that response, I will answer that question. I haven't seen any response yet. I haven't seen any response yet. What would you do in such a situation? Are you going to tell Amaka, shut up? Or are you going to tell Amaka, let's discuss this after? Or are you going to tell Amaka, give her one strong eye? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nobody is responding. Okay, at this point, you are allowed to put up your hand and unmute your mic and speak. So what would you do in such a situation? Amaka is your subordinate, and you worked on that design with Amaka, and then Amaka embarrasses you like that in the meeting, what would you do? Would you shut Amaka down, or would you tell her that let's revisit this outside this meeting? Or what would you do? What would you do? Nobody's responding. Please, can you respond? Can you respond to me, please? Okay, yeah, that's another way. Yeah, Coach, okay, you're spot on. So that's another way to react. So you can acknowledge what Amaka has said and ask for more clarity if required, and confirm if it is accurate. Yes. And in doing that, it puts Amaka on the spot, and God forgive Amaka that she doesn't know what she was saying. She will mess herself up in that meeting. But if Amaka really knows what she's saying, she will confidently explain what the budget is, or what the plan or the design is, and all of that, and she will handle it. So it can go both ways, all right? But what's important is for the person that is on the spot, that leader, to do what? Take a pause. Pause. Count to 5 or count to 10 before you respond to Amaka. You'll find out that what will come out will be the right reaction, the right response. But if, as Amaka is speaking, you're saying, shut up, or yeah, leave the meeting. I've actually experienced that before, and a leader told the person to go out of the meeting. To go out of the meeting. Sorry. My slides are just going wacko. All right, so that's also something that is possible that could happen. Oh, yeah. Yes, I agree with you. Her temperament will show. Yes, I agree with you. If she knows what she's saying, she will confidently explain what it is that she's saying. But let me tell you, if she has a vindictive boss like I have had before, yeah, it will be fine in the meeting, but appraiser, she will score a 0. I can give you that for free. And she will not know where it's coming from. She will show all the evidence that I did this. Why are you scoring me 0? The MD will say it's 0 that you have in this, because you have outshined your MD at a meeting. So we also need to apply wisdom. We need to be careful. All right, it's very important. So there's balance. There's balance in emotional intelligence. There's balance. There's balance. So we need to balance things out. Okay, think it through. Take a pause, reflect before you act, before you speak. Okay. Okay, so somebody wrote, Johnson Kelvin said, should a leader supposed to be ahead always in all aspects, especially in personal development? That's the one. Okay, so great leaders are actually leaders that surround themselves with people that know more than them, all right? And they don't have any issues around it. That's my boss I talked to you about. That's what he does. In short, that my boss, when we're having general meeting, people sometimes when we learned him, we say stepping back, and we're not quick to speak, because if you speak so smartly and all of that, you say, yeah, Chidima, you handle that, you will lead that, you will direct that. Yes, you handle that, you lead that, because he sees that you have seen the full picture that he didn't even see. He will just empower you to lead that action and all of that. And because he has put you on the spot, not because he wants to put you on the spot, he's had some capability and capacity in what you have shared. So he knows that you are able to deliver on that assignment. So he will tell you to direct or lead it. And you find out that he gave us all an opportunity to excel. Now, let me tell you why I was able to attend that executive retreat in Abuja in just less than 3 weeks of joining Deloitte Consulting overseas. We were covering 15 states in Nigeria. Out of 15 states, I was covering 3 states in Nigeria. And in 3 weeks, I had done financial training, which I didn't do on my own. I mean, I just got into the job. But I liaised with my colleagues in Ibadan. that was very good in accounting and finance and all of those things. He flew in from Ibadan to Bayelsa to come and help me do the presentation and all of that. And I scored my point. I had one in Umahia. I got another colleague of mine to work me on that, and I did it. So in 3 weeks of joining the company, I achieved something that people that have been in the company for years had not been able to achieve in 3 weeks. And it was just because I was very open to say, I've not done this before, but this is my idea. By the time I drop this is my idea, it will be like, this is such a sweet idea that you're bringing. If I add this, my own idea to it, will make it bigger. And we all came together. And then you hear, we also got my boss involved, and he would just say, yes. One thing I can tell you is that after I did one in Bayelsa with Dapo and did another one in Umahia, the one in Port Harcourt, Dapo came, my boss came from Abuja and joined us for that presentation. It was my presentation. Who took the credit at the end of the day? It was me, because I was one covering Port Harcourt. But you see, I had gotten my colleagues involved, including my boss, and they all bought into the idea, and they came and they helped me to shine. All right. I've also worked in an NGO, okay, and where I came in as an associate director. I ended up being an executive director in that NGO. And it was because I used to be open enough to call the team together, and those that are weak, we'll empower them and give them assignment. Nobody, up to cleaner, you will have some part to play in that responsibility. And at the end of the day, because everybody has a part ownership in what we're doing, everybody will put their hand, will succeed in that thing. And when our MD, who is Dakuku Peter Zaid today, had to move on into politics to become the Commissioner for Works, they had no other person to make executive director but me. So I got double promotion in one day. I became a senior associate director and also an acting executive director, all because I was able to harness and collaborate with all the team. It wasn't my knowledge alone. Did I know all of those things? I had somebody in my team that had over 30 years experience in NGO work. And I was just new into NGO experience. Yet I became his leader, his ED. It's the way you manage people and the way you do your things, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't know if I can see any other question to answer. Coach Oge, if I missed out any, please bring it to my fore.
I'm trying. I'm not sure you. Okay. Acknowledge. I think pretty much you've attended to all the questions, but for all the participants on the call, please, if you ask a question and it wasn't attended to, this is a good time to maybe use the reaction to raise your hand, and then let's take care of it. But from what I see here, there are no other questions that are pending, and I think you've done a fantastic work with the response to the questions and also with the session entirely. So thank you so much, Coach Chidima. Can we please give Coach Chidima some love? I mean, it's been so practical, sharing lots of experience, stories, I mean, day-to-day stories, because emotional intelligence, where you display emotional intelligence is in our day-to-day interactions. It's not in the classroom, you know, and there was something you said that it is at the point of trigger. That's when you know how much of emotional intelligence you have built. And it starts from what you're doing today, what you do tonight, what you do tomorrow morning, you know, what you do daily to your child, to your husband, to your wife, to your friend, to your neighbor, day-to-day interactions. That's how we build our emotional intelligence. It's a journey. It's a journey, but I tell you, I've been better. I've been better. And anyone who has kicked off this journey of emotional intelligence is always better each passing day. And I know Coach Chidima also has that testimony. Thank you, Coach, for this. Thank you for this session. I mean, I've learned a whole lot around leadership, a whole lot around handling practical life situations. Thank you. So I need to see appreciation. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Titilayo. So can we appreciate Coach Chidima, show her some love, be very generous with these tools, very generous with the love, with the claps. I think it's been an amazing time with her this evening. Coach, we are deeply grateful. We're super, super grateful. We're super grateful. Thank you.
My daughter
Thank
is clapping here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Coach. And just as a way of announcement, EQ Empowered Women Conference 2026 is oh my goodness. I'm so looking forward. So looking forward. So looking forward. I was going through the videos of 2024 and 2025 today. I mean, this is a conference that nobody should miss, right? And you have a great opportunity to be the first to hear of the conference. So the registration link would be sent to us shortly. And please evangelize, spread the news. This is a good time to empower somebody, empower your neighbor, that person you've been struggling with, that you say the person doesn't have emotional intelligence. Bring the person to the conference. It's a good way to empower people and equip them, right? So more information will come our way. If you want to be part of the planners, you want to be part of the volunteers, please feel free to reach out. You can reach out to Coach Chidima, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Coach Ugochi, or you can just put it in the community WhatsApp group to say, oh, I want to volunteer for, or you can reach out to any coach at all privately, right? So it's going to be a great one. So please do not miss it. And watch out this space for more details, the community. Let's keep it updated. Let's be there and check in there from time to time so that you don't miss out on any key information. So once again, thank you everyone for being here this evening, and do have an amazing night rest. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm a star.